Hey y'all, and welcome to Shade and the City. It's your girl Treese here, and we are here to get into none other than the Beyond the Gates. Okay, all my BTGs, say Shade Squad. Make sure y'all stand up. Make sure y'all hit that like button as you're coming in. And yeah, this is gonna be season 1, episode 35. So this would have been Tuesday's episode, April 14th. Or was it 14th, 15th, 15th? Y'all, as y'all know, if you didn't get the disclaimer on the last video, I have been having some trouble with my editor, and after lots of nasty grams sent to them, and I realized that it's just making me frustrated and nothing's going to change because it's still down now. I decided to go find other software and pivot. So yeah, that's where we are right now. I appreciate y'all understanding and your patience. And yeah, that's how we ended up doing chair challenges because I had to do something. I was all the way pissed off, and anyone who kind of does this for any content creators out there, you know how it is to sit, record, watch, record something, edit it, and then I can't get it to download, and now I gotta upload it into something else and edit it again. Oh, I needed a minute. I needed a minute because I was all the way pissed off. All right. So yeah, y'all. If you haven't already, like I said, please make sure you hit that like button. If you like the vibe, make sure you guys subscribe. All right. And let's get into this recap of Beyond the Gates, and let's get shady. So again, this is Tuesday's episode, okay? So Naomi has come to Bill and let him know that she is withdrawing from the case. Bill wants to know what parallel universe he's in and questions her intentions. He doesn't believe this is real. Naomi makes it clear that, she didn't say that the case was over, but she's not on it. She's not the one representing these ladies. Bill tells her, I still don't trust it. Something ain't right. I know you. I raised you. You're my child. Naomi tells him he's not getting out of anything except their courtroom family reunion. Bill doesn't believe in sudden change. So Naomi said that she found someone to represent her clients from another firm, which apparently is one of her friends who's a soror. And she apparently decided to take the case on pro bono. Naomi also lets him know that she realized some fights just aren't worth the collateral damage. She lets him know that he's still not in her good graces and attempts to leave, but then Bill, stops her from leaving or whatever and says, we're not done. And he, I just, for me, I don't know how anybody else felt during the scene. I like the scene between Naomi and Bill. I normally do enjoy them. Um, However, the fact that he just kept pressing her, like he just wouldn't take, I'm just not doing the case, right? So he insinuates that Naomi may have stepped away because she realized that they would lose their case and her clients may have misrepresented facts. And so Naomi reminds him that no, if that were the case and they misrepresented facts, why would you offer them a settlement? And I said, Naomi is always on it. All right. She basically lets him know, look, no. What really happened is you realize that I would have kicked your butt in court. Bill scoffs at her and tells her, she's retreating because she knows he would have secured a victory. Okay, again, he just likes his back and forth with her, and they like it with each other. Naomi tells him that he's full of SHI, all right, and that look, Dad, I'm not afraid of you. Bill challenges her and tells her that maybe she stopped believing in the case and tells her that she took the case because of what she felt he did to her mother. Naomi goes off about how, look, you obliterated our family, betrayed my mama to go play off with your child bride that happened to be my best friend. She lets him know that, and you also betrayed me as well. Bill thanks her for proving his point and asks why she's walking away from paying him back. Naomi tells him, look, just because you keep saying that doesn't make it true. She admits she shouldn't have taken the case. It was a conflict of interest. Bill is still pressing her on why the change of heart. So finally, Naomi is like, oh, I'm acting in the best interest. And he's still not accepting this. So finally, she's like, look, daddy, it's because I love you. Okay. I love you. And I don't want to waste any more time, any more possible time that we have together, because we know she's all worried about his health in court. And of course, we see that Bill is just delighted by this, to hear that his daughter can still find some love in her heart for her terrible daddy. Right. And that's happy. So now we jump over to Smitty and Tyrell. They're helping Samantha with her. I guess she's working on her pose. It's very small. But Martin walks in and lets Tyrell know that a reporter had reached out to him and asking questions about the picture, about Tyrell being in, his drawers in the locker room and the nasty comments. Tyrell is like, well, how did the reporter get a hold of it? Because it's supposed to be a closed network. Apparently the reporter's son or daughter, whomever, the reporter's child goes to the same school as Tyrell. And Martin lets him know that the reporter did agree to drop it if he promised to give him a scoop later on, a different story. So they tell Tyrell that, they wish he hadn't made up this story about falling on his bike or whatever. And Smitty asks Tyrell, well, how did you get your bruises? And so he explains how, the picture was released. It was sent to the girlfriend, then the boyfriend saw it, came, beat him up. And yeah, and that's where we're at. They asked if there's been any more physical violence, which he tells them that there hasn't, but he's being made fun of. He said he's being made fun of, I think he said more, for being the congressman's son. So then we learn that apparently this has been happening consistently. This is just happens to be one isolated incident. But the way Tyrell makes it sound is that, his friends make fun of him, call him bougie. We all know that him and Samantha were adopted, and apparently maybe they didn't come from the best circumstances. So, his friends are like, oh, y'all, y'all are poor orphans, and, you got lucky. And so he feels like, he just can't make friends, and he's asking his parents to just stay out of it and let me handle it, which is, if y'all remember, exactly what his Martin's daddy, Ted, advised and told him to do. And I don't know about y'all, but I would have really liked to see a scene between Ted and Tyrell. I think that would have been cute. To have him the same way Martin goes to his grandfather for everything. I think it would have been nice to see Tyrell go talk to his grandfather. And maybe we will see that. Who knows? Now, Danny is drowning her sorrows in the bottle as she practices her catwalk. She calls Andre. I'm shaking my head because I literally stopped to record this, but I'm in the middle of episode 36. So yeah. For those who know, if you know, you know. Okay. So she's drowning her sorrows in a bottle and she's practicing this catwalk. She calls Andre, who apparently is at the hospital. He said he was busy and he was doing something, but Andre didn't look like he was doing nothing, just was sitting around waiting for, I don't even want to say her name because we ain't seen him yet this week. And I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? So Andre tells her that all she gotta do is say word and he'll slide. And so she says word. And she says she put on a show and he's gonna be her VIP guest. So then he tells her he's tied up with something. And so, she's like, well, look, you better hurry while it's hot. Okay. While it's good and hot and ready. Let me stop. Now, Vanessa arrives early she has a session with Diego. He tries to lure her into a rendezvous, but Vanessa actually declines. And so Doug is at the hospital, and Shanice notices that, he's very energized, a lot different than what we saw from him, the previous night before or a few days before. And she checked his schedule and noticed that he's booked solid for the rest of the month. She's like, do you need me to contact someone else so we can rearrange this? And she's like, you should give yourself a break. And Doug ain't trying to hear that. And I don't, And so Shanice is like, oh, so you must be in need of some, well, she didn't say you must be in need of some money, but she's like, oh, you out here paper chasing, basically. I don't know what you guys think is going to happen with this Doug storyline, but I unfortunately think that he is absolutely going to lose everything. And I don't know if it's going to be because of gambling or if it's going to be because of Joey or himself. Does that make sense? Like, I think he's going to lose his job because he's going to mess up big time. I think he's going to lose Vanessa. He's probably going to lose a good portion of his money. And I don't know if he'll lose his life, but he might have some broken bones after he can't pay Joey back. That's just my line of thinking, because I don't know where we're going with Doug. I'm kind of lost. Y'all let me know your thoughts. So then Randy happens to come off the elevator and let him know that he was looking for him, and Doug looks shook, okay? And Doug asks him, why are you here? And he's like, so Joey sent you here so you could drag me back to the tables. And then we see it cut to Randy, who calls Joey, and apparently, and my stuff might be out of order, but Randy had called Joey and let him know that he was going to stop and get some biscuits from Georgia Brown. Shout out to Georgia Browns because they are delicious. Joey starts talking about business, and Randy tells him not to worry. So then we see Doug. He's on a work call, and asks Randy. They get off the phone, and he's like, "All right, are you done? With this visit?" So Randy's like, "Well, look, I'm here because you sounded like you was going through it the other night." And Doug tells him while he was in the middle of the surgery, all he could think about was the next game and the next hand. Ain't looking good, y'all. He says he almost lost everything, and he knows that Joey is going to want him back at the tables so he can get paid, and that puts Randy in a bind. And Doug says that, "I'm done gambling." Randy tells him going cold turkey ain't no joke. You sure? And Doug says, "Look, I have to make this hospital thing work. Okay, this is my bread and butter, as we know." Then while Andre is at the hospital, we see him get a phone call. Apparently, something has happened where there's been some files corrupted from a project he did. Very small, short, no need to sit on it. What was important was Jacob rolling up on Andre at the hospital and being like, "Oh, what you doing here?" And, he said, "Oh, I heard you working on that documentary and you already interviewed Ashley," because we know Jacob already told Derek, if you feel like Andre is an issue, I have no problem addressing it for you. So Andre explains, like, look, that's strictly because Ashley has obviously really good stories. That's it. And so Jacob is like, "Well, you know what? Why don't you come up with me to the maternity ward? And there's a baddie up there that I want to introduce you to." And Andre's like, "Nah, I'm good." And then he gets a text and he decides to run off. And we all know the text is from Danny. However, yeah, who knows what Jacob is thinking, because we know he's the detective and he always got to be looking for something. Danny is trying to do this catwalk pissy drunk, y'all. She's stumbling, she's falling all over the place, and then we see Andre come in, who finds her pretty much on the floor and takes her to the bedroom. And Andre is more concerned about putting her. Oh no, I'm not Andre. Danny is more concerned about putting on her show, and Andre tells her that basically just get a rest, and he slips Danny some aspirin and water, and basically tells her to go back to sleep because she can't even keep her head up at this point. Now, back at the country club, Diego tells Vanessa that, she seems a little off her game. And so Vanessa blames it on work, which of course gives him the perfect opportunity to suggest that maybe she kind of rush and hurry up and close some of her deals so she can get some of the buyers off her plate. And maybe that will help. And so Vanessa obviously knows that he's talking about Joey and lets Diego know that, look, I'm tired of telling you to drop this. You gonna stop. You are not my man. Stop asking me about Joey. So Diego reminds her that, look, it's my job to keep you focused on your fitness goal, and Joey has you distracted. Vanessa asked Diego, "So what are you trying to imply?" And I was like, well, he's trying to imply that Joey is distracting you. He's not sure how he's distracting you, but he knows he's a distraction. Okay. Doug walks in and which is even more awkward, and Vanessa suggests that he go work out with Diego, and she literally pushes it. She's like, "No." Diego tries to get out. He's like, "Nah, my schedule's full. I ain't got no time." And he's like, "Maybe you can work with one of the other trainers." And Vanessa ain't trying to hear. She's like, "No, Diego, he needs the best. He needs you." And so yeah, so Diego's like, "Fine, all right." But that was weird. I don't understand why she likes pushing her affairs into the people she's having affairs with. It's weird. Like in a face. I don't know. Now, Bill, back at Bill's office, Bill lets Naomi know that he does miss her and Chelsea. Naomi reminisces on her time in law school and how she enjoyed, hanging around the office and soaking up all his knowledge. Bill tells her that just because he loved Danny, he didn't leave her and Chelsea. He was happy to have Naomi back, even if it was as an adversary. She asked about his hand, and he's still saying that it's nothing, but says that he wants her to fight. He wants her fight, not her pity. So Naomi tells her father that, she's been furious with him, and she's realizing that you can want to drag somebody and still love them. And she admits that this case is not the way to solve their issues. So she passed up her shot on wiping the floor with her daddy. And Bill knows he can't get a hug just yet, but he lets her know that he loves her too. And I thought that was very sweet. For once, I saw Bill, and actually, episode 36, he does a little bit better too. Bill, is it this end of this one? I think it's episode 36, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Let me pace myself. Randy calls Joey to let him know that Doug is ready to quit gambling. Joey isn't concerned because he knows he just needs to wait for Doug to get his itch and he'll be back. So I was like, well, I guess that's a relief because he knows he's going to be back. But I question what the problem would be if he doesn't change his mind, if that makes sense. Like if he decides that I'm just going to stay away from the tables. Now, after Naomi leaves, Mike walks into Bill's office and he lets him know that, look, I heard Naomi was here. And he wants to know, so what? What was the outcome? And so Bill lets him know that, Naomi is withdrawing from the case and the case has been picked up by another firm. So Mike said, well, he don't care who the new lawyers are. He already know they're going to be able to wipe the floor with him. He's like, we should go out and celebrate. So Bill clearly doesn't share these same sentiments. Mike offers to, look, let me know the firm and I'll even go dig up some dirt on the new associates working on, that's working on a lawsuit. Bill said, there's no need. There's no need for that. And he said, that's been handled. And so he tells Mike, you're the liability. And me and the partners have agreed that we're letting you go effective immediately. I said, damn. So actually, yes, it was this episode. Bill stood on business. I loved it. Bill lets him know, oh, and by the way, it wasn't the partners. They agreed to this, but this was definitely my call. I said, ooh, add insult to injury, right? So Martin is upset at all this news that he's learned about Tyrell. He also is upset. He feels Tyrell is unappreciative. So Smitty tries to tell him that, they can't take it personally. And he wants to be his own man. And, Martin is still on this, I need to do something and I can change laws and affect things. And the fact that I can't even control keep my son from getting bullied. And he's a control freak. We know this about Martin, right? So Smitty tells Martin, look, please do what Tyrell asked and just leave it alone and let him resolve it, because he's gonna, it may lead to worse things if he feels like we don't respect him. And Martin refuses to sit and do nothing. And so we see him get up and run out the house. And yeah, Martin just don't give a damn about nobody. But I mean, I know it's for Tyrell, but it's still technically, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm selfish. Now because he wants the outcome that he wants. Jacob comes home and he realizes that again, Detective Jacob, right? He can spot anything. So he lets Naomi know that, oh, okay, I can tell based off your mannerisms, your attitude, you've clearly withdrawn from the case. So she says, yes, I knew if I would have moved forward, then the relationship with my father may never have repaired, and I didn't want that. So, and then Andre tries to get up and leave when we see Danny wake up and try to put on this show for him. And we know at this point, I think Andre is a little I think he's unattracted at this point. I think Danny and her alcoholism is going to become an issue for Andre. Just a prediction. But yeah, y'all. So that was pretty much episode 35 of Beyond the Gates. If you have not already, please make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure that you guys comment. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the TikTok, the Blue Sky, the IG, and the Facebook. And yeah, y'all, I will be back for episode 36. And then we got 37 a day. Y'all got a lot of catching up to do, but I'm ready. All right, y'all. So catch you later. Have a great day. And happy is it? I was about to say happy hump day, y'all. It's Thursday. See? I don't even know what day it is anymore, y'all. Happy Thursday. Bye-bye.